Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's the 12th of April. It's the year 2020. And I apologize for putting up so many videos, but this is just unwinding A, flawlessly, B, militarily perfect, but C, somewhat kind of predictably. So I'm going to show you some serious information. And if you don't understand what's going on by now, I don't know if I'll get a chance to make another video because the copyright strikes, the videos coming down, and the censorship, especially on Twitter. Twitter does not like me, is getting really ugly. And if you need me to slow the stream, go away. All right. I got other shit going on. Dude, figure it out for yourself. You click on the chat and it stops. Okay. Unbelievable. 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 At any rate, what's up, crazy heretic chick, Minx liberal, Jesse James? I hope you guys are ready, man. I really hope you guys are ready because so many people are just completely denying what's happening. And so many other people are just completely going along with it. It's astounding how people out in California are standing outside of Whole Foods 6 feet apart with their stupid little masks on after a month of the national emergency being locked down and whatnot. You'd think people would have started to look around for themselves to see how dangerous this disease really is or isn't, and how it can actually spread or can't spread. Do you see what I'm saying? Because the information's there. Doctors are coming out left and right, telling people that the CDC is telling us to basically mark everyone as COVID. That evil demon broad that comes on with Trump next to the little garden gnome, Fosse, Rothschild scumbag dude, she even said the same thing. Oh, in other countries, they actually mark it down as they're supposed to. But in the United States, we made a helpful form. And plus, if they mark it COVID-19, we pay them an extra $12,000 at the hospital. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that completely and totally amazing? And then I have to go through the comments and see people. Apparently, I've got 248 new trolls. I didn't used to, but I do now. Here's the deal. Unlike so many other channels that are literally self-censoring, they won't call COVID-19 COVID-19 for some reason. I'm not going to try to confuse anybody because enough people seem to be confused, even though I'm straight up telling them what's going on. But I'm also not selling anything. I'm not putting a PayPal, Patreon, Bitcoin, 30 other links for flashlights and what. It's a wrap. The United States is a wrap. We are going to get invaded by UN, whoever they're going to put in these vehicles. Okay. I've shown you vehicles for days and days and days and days. Well, we've been talking about where all these vehicles on the trains are going. Well, a young fella in Michigan answered that question for me. And when we saw this picture, me and Mike Decker, it bummed us out. And I'm going to show it to you. And now you'll understand why you need to stay in your house and don't go out after dark, because curfews don't even make any sense. You can't go out because of a disease. Why is it more? Are you more susceptible to catch a disease that you cannot catch in an airborne fashion whatsoever at all? After 10 o'clock at night? Well, this is what they're doing, okay? And I kind of speculated on this, but this is the first time I've actually seen it. You see this picture? Make sure I'm sharing. I am. You see this? This is in Michigan. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is in Wisconsin. And it's at an abandoned quarry. This picture was taken today. And these aren't brand new vehicles, and they're not storing them there, okay? For those people that like to make up every excuse in the book why military trains are running every night on every coast in every state in the United States, this is a rock quarry. And it has armed guards at the gates. And Mike Decker and I looked at this picture, and we were horrified at the sheer number. This is just in Wisconsin. I'm looking at all these MRAPs going, this is serious. These are heavy. They're not even going to use Hummers. They're using MRAPs, which is all we've been seeing on the trains the absolute entire time. But when we started looking a little closer at the picture, we realized it's not just MRAPs. Is this the wrong picture, Mike?
No, that's right.
You sure?
Yep.
I don't see the big trucks.
Yeah, they're in the...
Hold on. It isn't the right picture. Stand by. Here it is. It's not just MRAPs with armed guards patrolling the yard, because people always steal MRAPs and such. Look at the amount of troop carriers, all different colors. Some of them look new. Some of them are clearly used. These are all over the United States right now. And only a couple of people are actually going out and look for them. I've been in Wyoming for 3 weeks now. I left and went to Colorado to check on a subscriber, and I came back, and I go out every day looking in the desert near the train tracks behind factories for things like this because they're storing them every place. Absolutely every place. Now, you can deny it. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It's not Fort McCoy. It's an abandoned quarry, dude. All right? So let's hear it. It's already starting. Okay, Sharon, I don't care. Wow, someone unsubscribed you. Really? Really? I'm not going to look at the comments. How's that? Never mind. No more comments. Why don't you let me say what I got to say before you distract me with nonsense? If you got information, send it. If you don't, don't. But this answers the question where everything is going. And for the people that don't understand why the highway cameras are turned off at night, let me explain this. Now, this is, we're going to use common sense here, and people aren't going to like that. Let me explain this. All right, that's a troll. In a real world, people watch the highway cameras. They watch sunset cameras. They watch cameras all the time. They've been up forever, right? But during this crisis where they want everyone staying in, suddenly all the highway cameras are shut off. In a real world, they would want to leave those cameras on so you could see that there's nobody on the road, thus reinforcing you should stay home too because apparently everyone else is. But they've turned them off. All you can see is a snapshot now. The cameras aren't on at night is because that's when the trucks are running at night on the highways that they don't want you to see. I've already explained to you that about 25 Marines specifically, where all the Army guys are. I guess we're both sitting in this room. Marines have sent me emails. Richie, you're doing a good job, blah, blah. I can't believe this is happening, blah, blah, blah. But this is exactly what we do in every single solitary country that we've taken over. You go in, you set up a curfew, you make sure everyone that has to move for whatever reason has papers to do so. You set up checkpoints, you completely encircle the area, you stage your vehicles, and then you start going door to door to door to door. It's exactly what's happening here over a disease that's not killing anybody. I don't even know how many doctors have come out in the mainstream saying this disease is a mild flu. If you have to get sick, you want COVID-19. It isn't a bioweapon that China, I mean, there's so many things going on right now that are total and entire bullshit. I made a video about 6 months ago on RFB2 where I explained to you, hey, everybody, see this? The military is openly on the internet now fighting people like me, Mike Decker, and Nicholson 1968, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? And people didn't really see that that was an issue. It is an issue. And they're putting all these different memes out. 5G towers are absolutely going up. But here's the deal. To someone like myself, Mike Decker, Nicholson, ODD, I'm trying to think of other channels that are actually seriously walking it like they talk it and not just trying to soft sell you things and still talking about Trump like he's not an actor whose son is probably the Antichrist. But oh, he's still here for America. It makes no sense to me. Political theater is political theater. These guys, you make believe you vote for them. They make believe they care and they do what they do. Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Trump isn't real. Talking about Trump and then saying you're a truther, don't go on the same thing to me whatsoever at all, unless you're pointing out that his head looks like a cookie jar and his hair is just ridiculous. But Trump has said some seriously crazy things over the last few days, which freak me out. And another crazy thing that I just stumbled upon completely by accident was this. Bill Gates or Microsoft has brought the high priestess Marina Abramovic back. And this is absolutely insane to me. They're touting her as the best, what was it? The best, what do they call artist? She's the best artist in the world. Well, she's the best artist in the world if you have a golem, fresh breast milk, human feces, sperm, blood, and a golem that you're trying to raise from an inanimate object to alive or whatever. But then it made sense to me that Bill Gates brings her out because Bill Gates still runs Microsoft. Don't be new. You know what I mean? Let's get real here. Brings her out on the 10th she would be the best representation or incarnation of Ishtar right before Easter. Do you see what I'm saying? So it makes perfect sense. If it doesn't make sense, me and Mike just drank a lot of coffees and we're very excited. Mike doesn't actually you don't really get all that excited. I get excited, right? I'm very excitable.
Sometimes.
I am very excitable. If you don't know what Ishtar is, you don't know what Easter, all that other stuff is, I just uploaded a video I did 2 years ago on RFB2. But honestly, it's all gravy if you get time to watch that. Serious stuff is going down. I don't understand why people think this has anything in the world to do with a cold. This is the worst pandemic ever. Nobody's really sick. Nobody's dying, but they just keep moving forward and moving forward. And if you didn't know this, I think you should, if you consider yourself awake, you should know this. Where is it? Here it is. That's not it. Stand by, stand by, stand by. I got a lot of links open. Here it is right here. This just happened yesterday, and it's pretty, well, how about this? It's never happened before. But on April 11th, President Trump declares major disaster in all 50 states. Now, strangely enough, the state that I chose to come to, Wyoming, was the last state to finally give in. And Wyoming doesn't even have a single death from the COVID virus, unless that changed in the last few minutes. But it's a disaster area. So we're in waters we've never seen before. We're watching a president come up to the podium every single solitary time. Presidential seal is completely and entirely gone. And he is now at war. So the Constitution, not that it mattered to anybody or actually even applied to any of us, the Constitution, your Bill of Rights, everything's suspended. And that should be pretty obvious by now. But it's got nothing to do with the cold. And any grown-up that's been sitting locked in their house because their job's gone, their business is gone, everything we ever knew ever is gone. Everything has changed. It's never going back. It's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. But first, they got to get rid of certain people, period. They've had a list for a long, long, long time. And, well, Mike, I'm going to guess you're on it because you're kind of a dick. But I think I might be on it too. And I agree right here. I agree. Richie, what can we do? If you don't have a plan by now, I don't know what to tell you. And I really wish people would stop emailing me and saying, I have kids. What do I do? I've been telling you for 8 months. Gee, I have no idea why I suddenly picked up a backpack, started videotaping it, and marching through the woods every single solitary day for the last 8 months. Rain, shine, sleet, snow. I started making videos on how to do this, how to do this. You better get gold. You better get silver. You better prepare. Now it all makes sense. I have no clue why that happened, but it did, and you can't deny it. So there's that. Do not let them take you. And the way they're going to come, let me remind you, this is just one little spot in Wisconsin. I've got video all over the country. This is sitting at a rock quarry, an abandoned quarry with armed guards. I said, could you get video? He said, I couldn't get close enough because there was armed guards. And you know what? He's done more than most because this is where all the trains are ending up. Near your city, near your town, someplace, there are a bunch of trucks. Do I think there's United States military guys in it? No. There will be some. They're in Boston, they're in Massachusetts, but that will change. We were just discussing it's probably going to be the UN. It's going to just don't let them put hands on you unless you have no problem with getting a forced biometric vaccine or getting a digital vaccine and then living the rest of your life where you're not allowed to go any place unless you prove that you've been vaccinated against whatever the new make-believe disease du jour is going to be, because that's exactly what it's going to be. 2 towns over from where I live, you can't walk on a certain side of the street anymore. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I showed you some of it. And now in the last few days, the police apparently all over the world got the green light and they're kicking the shit out of people for their own safety. You're not wearing a mask. We better drag you off a bus by your foot. Do you know how bad that would hurt, getting dragged off a bus by one of your shoes while 10 cops are just laying the boots to you? the cops will do this because these guys are going to do whatever it takes to keep their jobs. Unemployment would be way, 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 way ridiculous if we didn't have, what, 1.5 million people working for the government, or probably more. This is absolutely out of control, and it's blowing me away how all the gun channels and all the prepper channels and all these other big channels are taking a wait-and-see attitude. Good. They've been watching us for years and years and years. They presented us with false flag after false flag after false flag. They've watched people like me try to wake up people like you, not you specifically. Don't everybody get all feelings and shit. They've watched what the reaction is, and they realize that they can do this because the only ones that are going to wake up are what are considered conspiracy theorists anyways. But the thing is the conspiracies are all coming to fruition all at one time. How crazy is that? But it is happening. If you haven't figured out by now that COVID-19 is a mild flu, I really can't possibly even imagine what else in the world I could show you to make you understand that. Let me see if I can show you anything to make you understand that. Here's one of the doctors explaining it herself. I don't know if this will. All right, I don't know if you could even hear that or not, but it doesn't matter. This video is up on my main channel anyways for now. So I don't know if you can hear it. This is one of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I can think of off the top of my head. She says you cannot get a virus other than by injection, period. Think about how many people you know that get vaccines, and think about how often and how quickly they get sick after they get vaccines, but they somehow don't correlate those two together. That's a really bad picture of you, doctor. Sorry about that. You look like Whitey Bulger. At any rate, take the doctors that are real doctors, Dr. Tenpenny, Dr. Kaufman, whatever her last name is. I can't think of it, but she's up on my channel. The doctor from Montana, the doctors coming out on the news that are like, what is all the big deal about all this? This doesn't even make sense. This is no big deal. And you can't catch it airborne. You can't catch a cold airborne. And yet you can't go outside. You can't go within 6 feet of people. It's getting absolutely insane. Imagine once you either A, stand up and act like an American that has a God-given right to be on this earth, and these people can go fuck themselves, or B, you talk a lot of shit, and then when no one's looking, you rationalize why you're going to get a biometric chip that's going to go into your bloodstream and track you and make sure you don't get too close to anybody else ever again. And that's never, ever, ever going to end. Look what they have just done to everybody with words. Imagine what happens when the guns are pointed at you, because that's coming. If you can't believe that, then don't believe that. But you know what? Figure it out. There's a 60-day cease on the military troops moving in the United States because of the virus. Yet every day I get video of troops moving everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And over the last month, Mike Decker, am I lying? No. I have whittled it down to soldiers, FEMA, DOD, doctors, nurses, people with actual credentials, period. Everybody else, you're just going to spam unless you actually have information that can help. I don't want supposition. I don't want what you think. I can do that all day. But it's just killing me to watch this happen because it bums me out. And I've been here long enough. Mike's figured it out. I don't care about me. I knew this was coming one of these days. I didn't know it was going to come this quick, but damn. It bums me out for all the little kids, all the old dudes that live their lives right, and it's all going to get ripped away from them right now. And for all the people that are going to end up being collateral damage, because we're America, we do collateral damage. They're going to die not even knowing what they died for. I think there's going to be a price for that. This is literally biblical. Do you see what I'm saying? This is literally biblical. How many times do we have to show you Bill Gates? There's no two ways about this. You will not be buying. You will not be selling. You will not be participating in society if you don't get the global vaccine, which will be a digital certificate to prove that you've been vaccinated. These guys could not stand the fact that anti-vaxxers, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I just noticed that when I was little, nobody got a lot of vaccines. As I got older, kids were getting criminally insane large amounts of vaccines, and then everyone's got autism. Everyone's got Alzheimer's. Strangely enough, large doses of aluminum introduced into a human body cause autism, Alzheimer's. That's crazy talk. You're an anti-vaxxer. Well, this whole thing just fixed all of that, didn't it? Because now if you don't get a vaccine, well, you can go sit in a FEMA camp. And I'll tell you what, ODD made a video where he straight up said, don't take the vaccine, take out 5G equipment whenever you can. And he said, I'll sit in a FEMA camp or worse. Well, let me explain something to you, and let me remind something to everybody, especially to you soldiers, law enforcement, feds, and the military guys that are listening. We have this thing called rendition. Rendition will make a targeted individual. There are I know targeted individuals. Do you see what I mean? If they can mess with you remotely, imagine what they're going to do to you when you're in a room. They'll make you renounce everything without a doubt. So don't let them take you. Just do not let them take you. As bad as that sounds, you're going to have to make that choice. And that's all there is to it. You keep asking me what the solution is. I didn't see this coming. I mean, I saw this coming, but not like this. Yeah, see you later, asshole. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. You're gone too. Say stupid things, win stupid prizes, all right? How about that? How about that? I didn't even realize the comment that I just had up that on Easter. I apologize. I just looked at Novak right there. Sorry about that. I wasn't paying attention. At any rate. So check this out. Let me show you all of this because there's so very much of it. If you don't think that this is a war against America by our own government, you're completely wrong. And I'm going to show you more. See this? You see this? This happened 2 weeks ago. Now, you see the tanks that I showed you rolling through towns on the back of trains? These are called bonus rounds. The United Kingdom uses them. But strangely enough, 2 weeks ago, the military bought a bunch of these. You know what these are really good for? These U.S. Army, well, these 155 millimeter Mike bonus rounds. 155 millimeter bonus rounds are good because from 20 miles away, you can shoot them over a neighborhood, say of, Richie from Boston and Mike Decker's, and they got all their friends together. They shoot this over it, and it explodes. It drops thousands of little bombs. Bonus. Yeah, they just bought those, but nothing to see here, folks. Let's go to some more crazy conspiracies that I just simply make up somehow and then get the news to print it or whatever the story is. Okay, let's see another one here. This just happened the other day, another one. The entire United States and world is under a lockdown. The United States is a disaster area. All 50 states, never happened in the history of the United States. You may want to pay attention to these things. But while all that's going on, the military's doing drills in Long Beach again. Helicopters, live explosions, etc., so forth, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's not good because these probably aren't drills. Remember in the old days when we showed you this stuff all over the place, how the military was drilling all over the United States like they were going to invade it sometime. You know what I mean? Yeah, that could never happen. Not at all whatsoever. Well, they're still doing it. And this time they probably did take out a target. I can't prove it. You can't prove it. But it's just a strange thing that we can't even leave. You're not allowed to leave your house. You can't walk down the street holding someone's hand. You can't gather. That's brilliant. Tell Americans if they go near each other and talk about this absolute bullshit conspiracy come to life right now in the United States, tell them they'll catch a disease or we'll just fine them if that doesn't work. Well, that's where we're at right now, ladies and gentlemen. And it blows me away. People don't see that. But you want to see another little trick you do in wartime? You take away the food. Remember Kissinger? Well, he's back. Isn't that weird? Henry Kissinger is back again. The guy's older than a dinosaur, if dinosaurs were real or not, I don't know. But here he is again. And now suddenly farmers are being told to throw away milk. They're being told to throw away cattle or sell them. The onion farmer, this is happening absolutely everywhere. So everyone's walking around with a mild cold, and that's causing our food supply to dry up. And who hasn't seen video of Walmarts? Walmarts, we were right. Those are FEMA camps, period. Right off the bat, they had a plan in place a long time ago, Event 201, but we won't talk about that. That's too conspiratorial. Walmart drops the shopping carts. They throw up the police tape, and they got armed security guards, and you're only let in 2 by 2 like Noah's Ark, except this Ark sucks. That's Walmart. And they've also decided that camping, hunting, electronics, you live in a country now where they're telling you what you can or can't buy. And everyone's cool with that? That's soft selling the New World Order to you. And if you're good with that, then just turn off this video and walk away. But I'm not good with that. So that's why they're sending in UN, whomever, who knows? Maybe some of them are American soldiers. I'd like to think they aren't, but it will not make any difference. They will come with the intent to either force you, take you, or kill you. And if you haven't figured that out by now, when you take away their food supply, that's how you get people to do exactly what you want. Well, do a crumb of research or don't. Ask me for the links. Email me and ask me to send it to you. This has been going on for weeks. I had the lady that owns a dairy farm. She got a letter from the government asking her to stop making milk. She couldn't give me a copy of it, but I did ask. But here's the other little funny joke they're going to play on us. This right here is now no longer essential. None of your business. You have no right to it because there's a disease. So now all of a sudden the government can tell you absolutely everything, and people seem good with it. You see what I'm saying? Seeds, gardens, meat packing, everything you need to survive is being taken away. You can't have any of these items. They're all cordoned off. That's real. That's happening everywhere. I saw it in Colorado. It's a total trip. Colorado, where I was in Fort Collins, Colorado, what a bunch of pussies. They're all walking around wearing bandanas and masks and all this other ridiculous bullshit while they're interacting with people that don't have masks on or don't have gloves. Oh, I can't go in McDonald's, but I can go through the drive-thru. Hello? These are just random, nonsensical rules. The elites combined with their rich friends that owned the government, that owned the corporations, kind of the same thing. They had Event 201. The big corporations shut everything down because that was part of the plan. We already stole all the gold, silver. We're going to steal everything else after this is over. So who cares? We're not going to lose $1. They shut everything down, but they're leaving open chains. McDonald's, Walmart, with stipulations, of course. This is going to get exponentially worse. I don't know what else I could possibly say. I'm getting tired here. I'm not seeing this from any other channels. I'm seeing a lot of channels mirroring my videos, and that's phenomenal. We're getting tons of views, and that's phenomenal. But the guys that are claiming they're telling you the truth and they're self-censoring, they're not saying certain safe, fuck YouTube, all right? That's all I got to say. I'm sorry it's Easter. I apologize. But if you're still pussyfooting around, don't tell people you know what's going on, because in a week, maybe a month, all of this isn't going to matter. The dollar is completely junked. The dollar has been junked since this. That's the first thing they did. The only reason the dollar in your pocket still does anything, because they're not ready yet, but they sure are damn close. Speaking of that, 70 degrees to 10 degrees in Wyoming. Totally normal. Nothing to see here. We already mentioned that when this started, they were going to, without a doubt, they're going to use all the weapons in their arsenal that Americans built for them. That burns my ass. That kills me. That totally kills me that Americans built these vehicles that are going to invade our own country. And yet we've cheered for our troops invading other countries for shit that these people that are pulling this right now did. We cheered like it was a sport. God was watching. God was watching the entire time. So thinking that there's going to be some miracle. I cannot think of how this could be stopped right now. The entire world's involved. Every government's involved. Everything's involved. There's a reason that Trump doesn't have the presidential seal here anymore. This ain't America anymore. And you don't believe that? He hasn't put the presidential seal back up one single solitary time. But check this out. That's disconcerting, but this right here kind of puts a point on it, we'll say. I got this sent to me by a tribe member of the Mashpee tribe in Massachusetts, and they got this letter. This isn't from the internet. This is a real letter. There's their seal right there. I'm going to read this to you, and then you'll understand where we're at. March 30th, 2020, Mashpee Wampanoag tribe threatened with land disestablishment. Tribal leaders step in to address ongoing land issues and threats to sovereignty. On Friday, March 27th, 2020, the Secretary of the Interior, which is the person that deals with everything inside the United States, notified the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe that he has ordered the disestablishment of the tribe's reservation, an act that would make Mashpee's tribal homelands out of trust status. Sorry, I'm missing a front tooth, so sometimes I whistle. Do you see what that is? They're dissolving the corporation of the United States of America. And at least they're sending the Native Americans a letter saying, hey, remember that trust that is totally irrevocable in the United States of America? Yeah, we're reneging on it again. But don't worry, because we're going to kill a couple million of our own people. Maybe more. But seems like everybody that would stand up and fight is actually defending and helping us pull this off on them. Because they're patriots, they're preppers, they're gun guys. They're on it. It's amazing to me how blind people are to this. I was telling you that you can't get a cold other than injection 3 weeks ago. Now, lots and lots of doctors, even mainstream doctors, are saying the exact same thing. And yet this still continues forward. So how could any of this happen if we already didn't have it inside of us? Why would the CDC be telling doctors to the point where they go on mainstream and say, they're telling us to mark everything as COVID-19? But why do you need to do that? It's an unbelievable pandemic that's killing so many people that the doctors and the hospitals are overflowing. It's unbelievable. And yet, every asshole with a camera has gone to every hospital that they can possibly find on the face of Earth, only to show exactly what the news is saying is completely and totally opposite. Now, who cares what the mainstream's saying? But the problem is the governments, the militaries, the police, the authorities are still acting as though this is killing millions and millions and millions of people. So we need to destroy your economy, destroy your business, basically destroy your life to keep you safe for America. That's exactly what's happening. And meanwhile, the food supply is drying up because the food supply caught a cold too. I mean, it's a pandemic, people. The food supply is drying up. You're only allowed in stores and buy certain things at certain times, what they think is a necessity for you. That's going to continue. It just started. And then 3 days ago, all the social media blows up with cops kicking the shit out of people for their own safety because they're not wearing a mask, or they're standing too close to somebody, or they're trying to go to church. 2 people have been killed so far for their own safety. So that's going to get worse. To me, that means most of the military is hidden in plain sight because that is how we roll. And now they want to provoke a response because they can't believe the amount of brainwashed, predictably programmed sheep that are in this world, that even after all this time, you haven't taken a couple of fingers, tapped a couple of keys, and looked up for yourself. Holy shit. An exosome, that's something that's already inside my body that actually fights things. It's a good thing. But wait, they're calling the exosome COVID-19? Well, that's crazy. Because if that's the case, if they tested people for it, everybody would have, oh, there it is. How do you think you can guess if this is all bullshit, if they send out test kits, if you get tested, you're going to be positive. What's the first thing that happens? COVID-19 test kits are all contaminated with, well, what are they contaminated with? Measles, chicken pox, influenza? No, COVID-19. Do you know what the percentage of that being real? It's ridiculous. Of course, it's all contaminated with whatever they want you to be positive for so they can completely control your entire life like a child. I read that letter this morning by James Corbett, and James is a smart dude. He's a great researcher, and he's very well spoken. I read that, and I'm like, he's totally right. We can't get past this because people sat around like fucking little kids while they assembled the military machine around us. And everybody that showed you they were doing that, that's not real. That's from the factory. Oh, those guys are coming home from Iraq. It's unbelievable. America is going to get exactly what she's allowed. And here it comes. Here it comes. We told you, I think last week, I didn't mean to do that. I think last week that they were going to use weather as a weapon. Well, check out this wacky little headline that just shows up. And it's right from my exact area, which is strange. This has never happened. I just lost it. How do I lose a link? So it's right here. That's not it, man. That's not it at all. That still sucks. There's a link. That does suck, but it's not the one I was looking for. Where is it? Stand by. I can't breathe. Right here. This is from where I live in Massachusetts. National Grid says possible power outages for up to 72 hours amid upcoming storm. Well, that's weird because the military's been there because they can't really hide. So they have to roll down the street in Hummers with helpful soldiers passing out packets. They're going to use the weather, and it sure seems like they're softening the country up right now. 4 inches of snow. They dropped the weather 70 degrees in a day. People are showing videos of softball-sized hail, and now New England's going to get smoked. Yeah. And I'm going to, if I had to guess, Wyoming was the last state to hold on. They wouldn't report fake deaths like every other state. They didn't care about the $12,000 that every time this person died of, he got hit by a train. Shh, shut up. Write down COVID. We'll get 12 grand. Oh no. I didn't say he got hit by a train. He got hit by a bad case of COVID. Cha-ching. You know what I mean? And that's exactly literally what's going on. But it appeared that Wyoming stood their ground. They were the last state to finally say, okay, sure, yeah. We don't have a single death. Nobody's sick whatsoever at all. Nobody's hiding or wearing, well, I can't say that. They're probably going to use Elon Musk's Starlink. There's your 6 feet. Remember Geostorm? Me and Mike have literally seen Starlink go over once and then twice. Do you have any clue how that, dude, it takes 25 minutes to go over. It just keeps going and going and going. That's your aerial. That's your assault. I think 5G is going to be, if you don't do the social distancing, they're going to juice you like a dog collar. You keep acting like a jerk, they're going to Starlink you. But I also think it probably is a Geostorm type thing, and they're going to use it to nuke Yellowstone. Nuke it with like the mother of all bombs or whatever, something to that effect. But Wyoming's been bad. You don't have any deaths? Wyoming people are pretty badass. There's a reason I came out here. You know what I mean? I figured it was all cowboys and hats and boots, and it is. I blend out here. You can't really notice me. It's hard to. You don't see my truck. I blend in, right? Yeah. I'm laid back. I'm not really high strung or anything like that. And as soon as I get here, people are messing with me right off the bat. So it was kind of cool that people knew who I was out here, one way or another. But yeah, 5G, that won't matter to people unless you completely go along with this entire system. If you stand up like a grown-up and actually try to make, well, to me, God's watching. I'm standing for this. I'm not bowing down to this whatsoever at all. And I don't think I can because I don't give a shit what other channels think or say or whatever. I've basically been predicting this because once it starts laying itself out, it's pretty predictable. Pretty predictable. They're going to start using weather as a weapon, and then all of a sudden the entire country just lights up. And, of course, they're warning people back home that it's coming. Well, that sucks, but It is what it is. Let me see if I can find this link. That's not it. Come on, man. Sorry. Every time I click on this link, it disappears. So stand by. Where did it go? Stand by, stand by, stand by. Right here. And share. Yeah, you see this? They're getting ready to open a can of whoop ass back home. That's going straight up, and me and Mike Decker have been watching it all morning. It's getting bigger and angrier and bigger and angrier. So they're going to pull out all the stops. They're going to, oh my goodness. They're already taking away the food. We have a food shortage because of a cold. They're already telling you can't buy seeds. They're already telling you when you go into a store, once you wait in line to go in the store, if it hasn't come, it's coming. They started a little bit, and it's pushing everywhere. Walmarts are indeed FEMA camps. Military is indeed rolling, and they're shutting everything down. And I found this tweet right here by Donald Trump very disconcerting, and you might too. I am fairly certain this was him telling everybody, governors, get your state's testing program and apparatus perfected. Be ready. Big things are happening. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but when I see that, read what he's saying. Governors, get your state's testing program and apparatus perfected. You know, like the ones we have with all of our tests being contaminated with COVID. Get those ready, just like we did. Be ready. Big things are happening. This was an hour ago. No excuses. The federal government is there to help. We are testing more than any country in the world. Also, gear up with face masks. I'm not a conspiratorial-minded person, but that sounded like a threat to the governors and probably mostly to Wyoming, because Wyoming sucks as far as pulling off a hoax against Americans. But they finally got them to bow, as they would. It happens. It's cool that they held out as long as they possibly can. Okay, I already showed you that. I already showed you Bill Gates brings the high witch Ishtar back. Trump declares major emergency in all 5 states. I showed you the Dr. Judy Mikovits. Her and a lot of other real doctors, MDs, they're like, this is totally ridiculous. It makes no sense. Some of the doctors haven't figured out the game plan, even though Dr. Tenpenny said it. So for a flu, you're destroying the economy, you're destroying businesses, and you're locking people in their houses for a flu? Yes. The lie is what's getting everything else done. They got to get rid of the dollar. They're going to de-arm the country. And they have wanted depopulation since 40 years ago this year when they put up the Georgia Guidestones. This year was 40 years. You remember at the end of like November and December, I kept saying, just offhand, I wonder if 2020 has any significance to these people. I'm not a numbers guy, so I don't know. Wow, 2020 has been a trip. But let me explain something to you. This is biblical. Some of us see it and some of us don't. I have put up video after video after video. I'm not monetized. I'm not selling anything. That all stopped when this went real. Any other channel that's still asking you for anything should be embarrassed. Dead up, straight up. This is the end of the United States, whether you can see it or not. Trying to make money, it doesn't make any difference anymore. This is for all the marbles. I've been saying this since day one. Day one, this is for all the marbles. You cannot shut down the entire world twice. It won't work again. They're going to do it this time because they just upped the game the other day by making if you don't wear a face mask, we're going to drag you off a bus by your foot on video and 10 guys are going to beat you down or shoot you or whatever else, or give you $1,000 fine. But putting the face mask on, for all the people that are looking around or driving around or live on Earth and they're like, wow, it's weird. The only place I see sick people is on television. Now you see people with face masks. It reinforces the bullshit and it gives them a reason to fine you if you don't wear one. And it lets them know through the unbelievable amounts of cameras we've sat and watched them install over the years how many people are going along with the program. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. When I did that video a few months ago, when I said, wow, Jordy Rose just stepped down from D-Wave. They just invented it. It's not that old, but he just stepped down to make robots that are indistinguishable from humans. I didn't realize he stepped down from D-Wave because it's up and running. This is run by D-Wave. This is Jade Helm, worldwide, gone to life. They are going to use the military. And if you remember when Anthony Patch and I used to do the same shit right here, during Jade Helm, we found out that they were installing AI things on Hummers, MRAPs, tanks, anything with wheels that could allegedly be controlled remote control. I don't know about that. I'm thinking it's going to be foreign troops. But if you are not ready, if you think that this is all good, then America's dead anyways. I don't think this is all good. I think this is absolutely ridiculous. Forcing a state to declare itself a disaster area because there's nobody dead and there's only a few people sick, and if no one turns on the television, everything is normal. The weather kind of sucks. Blows me away, but that's where we're at. If I were the president, the last thing I would ever want to do was declare the entire country's a disaster area. Never been done in history. But if you listen to the dude, he's been telling us all along, there's a storm coming. Yeah, you think? This is it. And people still don't see that? You knew I was a snake. The dude's been telling you the whole time. His son-in-law is Jared Kushner. You think Trump doesn't know who he is? Do you think when he gets videotaped with the big tree of life, all his Kabbalah worship, this dude is one of them, which is why he does this constantly. You think he doesn't have people that say, hey, Donald, it's bad enough we got to deal with that stupid orange hair of yours. Can you stop making that signal every time you're on a television screen? But he does, because he doesn't care. He can say whatever he wants, and people still don't get it. Q is a military psyop to get you to do exactly what you're doing right now. If I was wrong, I would be stoked because I could still live. I liked it here. But my fellow Americans have just completely pussied out and gone in their houses, allowing this to happen. All you ever had to do was a crumb of research, and you know what? They never took down any of the research to this moment where you could find out this whole COVID thing is complete, utter bullshit. You can't spread it through the air. It has to be injected. And if you got COVID, guess what? My nose is running. That's it. Locking assholes in New York and Boston and Jersey in their houses, a bunch of old yentas and whatnot, staring at television because there's no more sports. There's nothing but MSM, COVID. You sit there staring at it long enough and they keep telling you what the symptoms are. Guess what? You're going to get the symptoms. So, and just FYI, this is mainstream. This isn't a conspiratorial website. This has been up for a while. The Gateway Pundit, from the numbers, only 150 Americans to date with no pre-existing conditions have died from COVID-19, or 0.9% on April 10th. And I already showed you the article that Dr. Anthony Fauci, you know, the guy who was friends, he's in a family photo with Bill Gates Sr., one of the old creepy lizard Rockefellers, George Soros. He's sitting right there. You think, I mean, what the? This is the only way you could take down a country that allegedly has a gun behind every blade of grass. Tell them a spooky story and they'll run in the house. Friday the 13th is when all this started. Tomorrow's the 13th, and magically we got this monster storm that's causing the power company to tell everybody you might lose power for 3 days. They got to tell you, and they always do. They're telling the Indians we have to, all those reservations, yeah, we're not going to have room in the New World Order. Remember the first time we came through and helped you guys? Well, we're going to help the white people too this time. We're going to help them all. And they're not even paying attention, which blows me absolutely away. But what are you going to do? At any rate, Richie from Boston, like, share, subscribe, but it doesn't make one single crumb of difference. 9,066 people watching. Somebody stop watching, will you? That's lame. You see that number, dude? 9066. Nothing to see here, folks.
Imagine that.
You knew I was a snake. Horrible, 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 dark monster that's cast a spell. He just told you, because none of this makes any sense unless they cast a spell. And then magically, 2 days ago, Microsoft, Bill Gates brings out Marina Abramovich again. Again. All right, guys. Just in case me and Mike don't make it through the night, because that can happen, I'm going to jump in the chat real quick. There's a lot of you, man. This is insanity. Doug, what's up, brother? Anytime. Do not let them take you, period. Period. You bet. You bet. Indeed. Yeah, I mean, there's a picture going all over social media of Rockefeller, Soros, Bill Gates Sr., huge eugenicist. All he's ever wanted to do was kill people, and his son. None of this makes sense. I mean, none of this makes sense. And what doesn't even make even more sense is all the other truth channels that, well, this is violating my Bill of Rights. Dude, this entire thing is a complete lie. So this is a complete crime. And sitting around talking about the Constitution and every other nonsensical thing, he declared himself a wartime president. So all that shit's suspended anyways. It wouldn't make any difference. This is exactly what it looks like. And it would break my heart for you to die believing this lie. And that's a fact. If you can't figure that out by now, whatever, man. Whatever. All right, guys. Stay strong. Pray. Hit your knees and pray and pray. Actually, let's wrap it with a prayer. I prayed a lot today. Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you through Yahweh, and I ask you to please do not let me deceive anybody in your Son's holy name. Give every person that can hear my voice the courage to stand in their faith. Allow those that cannot see the discernment to see what it is that's happening. And to all those people that are just self-censoring and riding the rails, wake them up, share the truth. This is for all the marbles. God, have mercy on this country, this world. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Richie from Boston, and I am out. I can't breathe.